It's my feel-good breakfast show.
A very good morning, welcome back. It is a Monday morning and you are right on time to join us alongside Dr. Eve for our relationship talk on Monday mornings. Now with Father's Day coming up this Sunday, there's a large focus on how this role can shape a person's identity and life, and much emphasis is placed on being a responsible father figure. Now a lot of narratives is built around the absent father, and we would like to recognize and learn what can be done to improve and celebrate the fathers out there who are doing their best for their children. So today we're asking, how are you the best father you can be? What is the importance of praising those fathers who are doing the right thing? Is it even important to do so? Dr. Eve asked a very controversial question on social media the other day, and she's in the building to further discuss this topic, and we'd love to hear from you with your questions or your comments. Please head on over to our Facebook page and drop a comment over there in the post, and we would love to engage with you. Great to have you back with us, Dr. Eve.
Nice to be here.
I saw your post
Did you?
online.
Very
yes,
controversial.
I did, because it's a very interesting topic. The few that's there, they get celebrated, and then there's a few that, you know, that the bad apples, if you can put it that way, that spoils it. But I think the overall narrative globally is that emphasis on a deadbeat dad.
Yeah.
Why is that the case?
Well, we have statistics to show that, unfortunately, Zoe, that in our country, 57% of dads are absent, that many people grow up with the father who may be present in the house. And we've done some work around this before. Father who may be present but is emotionally absent, or is just there but not really present, that's emotionally absent with his child, or may even still be married and part of the family but physically absent as well. So fathers don't have a good reputation, and I'm really looking forward to viewers calling in and actually challenging me as to why we should be celebrating Father's Day, because I'm looking for a reason, really.
Yeah. So are you of the school of thought that we should not be celebrating Father's Day?
No, I'm not that extreme yet.
Yet? What's your standpoint?
No, I'm not that extreme. And we're here to encourage fathers to be doing what they should be doing. I don't think there's anything unique about being a father that's different from being a mother. I think that we should not be lauding fathers who actually do what they should be doing, which is what's called in the law care and contact with their children, and that includes financial support as well, maintenance as well for their children. So why do we make such a big issue of something that a father should be doing just as a parent? But we do need to make a big issue of those who do it. I mean, isn't that a little crazy?
I want to challenge you a little bit on that.
Come.
So when you say make a big issue of, what do you mean by that?
Why do we have to say, oh, praise these fathers who actually are there, who actually stay with their children, who actually support their children, who actually maintain? I mean, there's a real big problem in society if we have to laud the fathers who do just what they're supposed to be doing, which is parenting. I mean, after all, that's just what they're supposed to do. So why do we say, oh, you know,
maybe I need a bit more. I need a bit more clarity on this from you, and we'll discuss as we go on. Because I mean, we do the same thing for our moms. When Mother's Day comes around, we love them, we praise them, we tell them why we love them, the many different reasons that they've contributed to our lives. So I'm trying to understand what you mean by saying making a big deal about fathers who are out there doing their duty, their fatherly duty, as it is their fatherly duty. Because I also have a standpoint on that.
Okay,
but
I'm looking forward to hearing
we are going to be engaging in this, oh my word, meaty Mondays, or meat-free Mondays, but it's relationship talk with Dr. Eve, and we're talking about Father's Day and whether we should be celebrating fathers out there who are standing their ground as fathers and doing their fatherly duties. Let us know what your comments are on that. Leave those comments on our Facebook page and on Twitter as well. We'd love to engage with you.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Oh, well, listen, it is Monday, so we are talking all things relationships, and this morning it's a very interesting one as Dr. Eve joins us in studio ahead of Father's Day. Now, before we took a little bit of a breather, I feel like Dr. Eve and Katlego were not on the same wavelength when it came to celebrating the good fathers in our lives ahead of Father's Day. That's this coming Sunday, the 16th of June. Do we see eye to eye now on this topic?
I think we kind of do.
do
Do we? Yeah. I mean, just looking at the question that Dr. Eve asked on social media, earlier where you said that
Yes.
you're in a dilemma, and do you think that we should celebrate fathers who stay, support, and finance their children? My immediate instinctual answer says, yes, we should, in the same way that we celebrate amazing mothers. And I understand that there's a vast difference in the way that the world is shaped that does not necessarily support women, doesn't support mothers. But in the same way that we uphold our mothers as these amazing figures, when you do have an amazing father who is doing amazing things,
They need to be
definitely celebrate
celebrated.
him.
For sure.
Definitely
For
celebrate
sure. Well,
him.
let's just celebrate parents, because I think parents have a hard time, full stop.
Yeah.
Do you know, I'm going to throw like keep throwing scary statistics out to you, that preschoolers who don't have fathers are 40 times more likely to be sexually abused.
Oh, wow.
Okay. 71% of kids who drop out of school have absent dads. I want you to be a dad and to stay.
Yeah.
I want every man to have the right, which the law in our country provides them. And we have really fantastic law that came out. The Children's Act of 38 came out in 2005 that gave fathers rights. And there are many fathers in our country who are fighting in the courts every day for the right to have access to their children.
Dr. Eve, I want to touch on that statistic you said about preschoolers.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that statistic quickly?
That preschoolers who have absent fathers have got 40 times more likely to be sexually abused than other children.
And you also said that a lot of the, like, was it 71%?
71% of kids who drop out of school have got absent fathers.
So in terms of growing into an adult, those
Yeah.
who didn't have present fathers that we label daddy issues, what impact does that have on a grown-up?
They're so much more at risk, Zoe. So what the research is showing is that if you've got a father figure, a stepfather who's benign and kind and not going to sexually abuse you, then you have a good chance of really rectifying or putting yourself at less risk of being one of those people who are at higher risk of not only sexual abuse, but high risk of depression, of suicide, of drug abuse, of alcohol use, of dropping out of school. So for the stepdads who have stepped in, or father figures who have stepped in, you know, we really do want to celebrate you for doing that as well, even though those situations can become pretty complex.
Yeah.
I'm here to celebrate fatherhood and to encourage fathers to please stay, because I was saying earlier, the law is there. South African law is there to protect fathers.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about mothers who don't honour that and don't allow that.
Well, we'll touch on that and so much more. This is a very interesting topic, and like Dr. Eve said, that we do certainly celebrate all of those fathers out there who are standing by their children and doing their fatherly duty. When we come back, I've got so many different and interesting questions to ask you. I'm thinking a lot right now. That's why we need to take a break, but we will be right back shortly.
It's my feel good breakfast show.
Welcome back. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Happy Monday. Yes, and I hope that it is a very, very happy one for you as we engage in our topic of conversation this morning with Dr. Eve, our relationship expert, fathers, because Father's Day is coming up on Sunday, the 16th of June. So the question I wanted to ask is, has there been any research, proper research done into the reasons why fathers leave?
Yeah.
Or they don't stay, or don't feel a responsibility to take care of their children? Is there a group of reasons?
Yeah. So we could start out with the young fathers with unintended pregnancies, where there is like just a need at that point in time to be able to provide and care. How do you do that when you're so young? You just can't possibly do that. And that continues because, and here I am showing empathy for fathers who do leave. There is a high rate of unemployment, and fathers' urge is to be able to provide and to protect. And that, when there is not an ability to do that because of unemployment, they leave and they go and seek employment elsewhere. I'm going to get a little political over here, because I think that this is part of apartheid structure still that exists in our country.
Wow.
That the migrant system where fathers had to go away and they had to go work somewhere else, and they had to leave their children and leave the mothers of these children.
Yeah.
So there was that system set in place, and that system or those structures are still very much in place in our country as well, which I think do not assist or help fathers to really stay and to parent their children. They are still moving out and working elsewhere too, and that breaks down families and the ability to connect with that.
Wow.
And then the other really big reason, Kat, is that mothers make it incredibly difficult.
I was about to ask you on that, Dr. Eve, because I was listening to the statistics you were saying about how many dads are in court trying to fight to see their children, and also given the stats that you've given us that there are so many absent fathers, why is it so that the moms cause that hurdle between the dad and their children?
Right. So what we know around divorced dads is that they are the most devalued, disparaged, and discriminated against group of men, that they are deliberately disengaged from their children by the mothers. That's pretty shocking.
Sure.
That's really shocking. And I really want to say to the mothers, please, if you have a gripe with the man who impregnated you, do not let your children suffer because of that. They live in the courts. I know you're wanting to have maintenance. I absolutely empathize with that. Be aware, and this is what this new law in 2005 did, the Children's Act. It said the children's needs come first.
Yeah.
You've got to take your fight to therapy or to a priest or to a minister or to a rabbi. Do not let the children suffer because you are fighting with this man over money or over unsolved conflict that you didn't get through in your relationship.
Quickly taking a look at
Yes.
your question, it seems 58% of you out there on Twitter are saying that, yes, we should be celebrating fathers who stay, support and finance their children. 39% of you say, no, we shouldn't. And 3% of you say that you are unsure. What would you say then to those fathers who are, let's say, detached, in them understanding the impact it would have on their child,
Right.
should they decide to re-engage, to be there? And from all fronts, where we're just trying to call on all fathers to come to the party, be a dad, despite the circumstances between you and partner or whatever family issues, be there. Because, I mean, we were talking to Craig Wilkinson, author of many dad books last week, and he said the secret 2 words is be there.
I love that.
What would you say about the impact of being there? What difference would it make in a child's life?
A huge, huge difference. And even if you cannot be there in person, because of technology, there is no excuse for a father not to be there with his children through sending messages, through just, even if the child doesn't respond, even if the child is never going to receive them because the mother might mediate and make sure that the child never gets messages or letters or anything from the father. Keep doing it so you have a record, and mostly because you feel, I have tried, I have engaged, and at some point in time, you will meet up with this child. I hope that you will.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to say, I did try and reach to you. You really want that child to know and to feel that. You may never have the kind of relationship that you want, but the child will know that as a parent, you attempted to still engage with him or with her.
Yeah.
Very important.
I want to ask something about, fathers, as you said, the urge is to provide and protect the family. For fathers who may feel that they are inadequate because they don't have the lucrative job that brings in a lot of money, they don't maybe even earn a salary, they're jobless right now, so they feel, I'm embarrassed in front of my family, in front of my children. What would you say to them about, it's not necessarily about what you can provide in money, it's...
Legally, a father has to provide maintenance, even if he is the biological father, divorced, disappeared, and never sees the child again. The court says that you have a right, if you prove paternity, you have a right to have access to that child for the care and contact of that child, and you have a right to provide maintenance. And if you can't provide maintenance, please do not let that get in the way of you having contact with that child or children. It's so important, as you can hear from some of the statistics, of how damaging it is, differently for girls, differently for boys, but how damaging it is for children not to have fathers in their lives.
Okay. Dr. Eve, I have a very interesting comment that came through from Michaela Jean on Facebook. She says, my father had to take on the responsibility of both a mother and a father. My mother is absent and she left when I was quite young, and my dad raised my 2 older sisters and I feel like mothers are rightfully praised, but we need to praise the dads that take on the responsibility of both the mother and the father. It was extremely brave for my dad to take on the job of raising 3 girls, and it should definitely be celebrated.
There we go.
Your dad,
Celebrate you.
yes.
We celebrate you. And you know, why do we make such a big fuss? Because in a society of patriarchy like ours, we know that men don't mother. That's not what their roles are. They're there, they're getting status, they're getting money, they're building careers. That's kind of what society has told them their role is. So when they slip into that full-time role of parent, we do feel proud of them because they're fighting a huge backlog of patriarchy and what men should be. Men should just be, as you were saying earlier, parents. That's what they are. But we can't pretend that this is a normal kind of society and everybody's equal. It's not.
Yeah.
Men have a terrible burden on them to be the kind of man, and that kind of man isn't the man who stays home and nurtures his children. So we do love the men who do that.
Wow, all right. I fear that
Very
is the
special.
last segment that we had to chat to Dr. Eve, but wow, certainly one that's worthy of opening once again as we continue to explore relationships. And as a quote by Billy Graham asserts, a good father is one of the most unsung, unpraised, unnoticed, and yet one of the most valuable assets in our society. Sure, happy Father's Day for this coming Sunday.